Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in another one of our Wednesday Learn by Doing webinar workshops. And I always like to start off with a relevant topic. And today the topic is subtle energy related to self-healing. And we'll also be doing some ARV, and subtle energy is certainly related there as well. And I hope I'll make that plain. Okay, so here's the agenda, about a half an hour on the subtle energy, self-healing, and then what is that? An hour and a half until 2 o'clock on ARV roulette, prediction analysis, and feedback. So let's do this. Prana and ki are terms that originate from different ancient traditions, but both describe the subtle energy that is found in everyone and gives us our vitality. Otherwise, we'd be more like a rock. Prana, which comes from the Sanskrit, the word does, is defined as the life force or vital energy that permeates the body and is especially concentrated along the midlines and centers called chakras. Pranayama is mentioned in verse 4.29 of the Bhagavad Gita, which is dated between 5th and 2nd century BCE. Now, this idea of chakra is used by many different forms of healing, but not everybody uses them. But this is prana is, I think, where that was invented. And then there's qi. This is Chinese, and this is defined as one of the most basic substances that, according to traditional Chinese medicine, pervades the body. It is a subtle influence of vital energy that is cause of most physiological processes and whose proper balance is necessary for maintaining health. Qi is also spelled C-H-I-C-T and ki. In fact, I will probably call it as ki. That's what I'm used to calling it as. The earliest representation goes back to 481 BCE. So these ideas, this sense that this is around and in the body, we're going to talk about it being much broader than in the body, but they were using it. They found, probably what we would say experimentally, that this works, and indeed it does work. Now, this is from the Orient and Japan. Mary Burmeister, who is the one that brought this to America, says that the Jinshin Jitsu means art of the creator through compassionate man. Okay, so as a physio-philosophy that is used by everyone unconsciously. So this is deep, being used all the time. It doesn't do anything, she says, yet encompasses everything. You have to love that. It's nothing and everything. Well, it does. It doesn't do anything. I call it the art of life. The art of life itself is the whole cosmos and cannot be categorized. Now, so much of what we're into, we struggle with words to capture it, and that's partially what she had to say there. Jinshin Jutsu is not a physical manipulation of tissue and uses only minimal pressure. So this is one form of healing which does touch the body, but the hands are used as jumper cables contacting 26 safety energy locks to redirect or unblock the flow of subtle energy along its pathways. So you can see this is a different approach than the chakras, but this approach works as well. And I think that's because we're all using subtle energy. A practitioner is not the doer. He simply assists in the flow of an infinite supply of universal energy. This process does not affect the practitioner's personal supply of energy. So it doesn't get used up. They probably have access to an infinite amount anyway. More they give away, the saying goes, the more they actually get. They get stronger as they use it. Okay, I want to briefly bring up Qigong. Qigong is an ancient Chinese practice of cultivating energy. Notice you're getting a theme here, and that's the point. The practices include physical postures, breathing techniques, and focused intention. Intention is so important in all of this. From the gentle movements of Tai Chi to the more vigorous Kung Fu, the aim of Qigong and related practices like Tai Chi is to cultivate the Qi, cultivate the Qi, to harmonize the body, mind, and spirit. A well-known in the field, Khitan teacher and doctor of Chinese medicine, writes in his book, The Healer Within, all the necessary biological components of self-healing have existed for thousands of years. Both ancient and contemporary philosophers have pointed to it. Self-healing has existed for thousands of years. So Qi, Qi, Qigong, they're all basically saying the same thing. They look at it somewhat differently. Science, okay, so both ancient and contemporary philosophers have pointed to this self-healing. Science has now confirmed it, he says. The most profound healer is within us. We produce our own internal medicine. And of course, you know that. You just normal minor scratches, how do they heal? They know, the body knows how to heal it. The knowledge is kind of around all the time and universally available. It is easy to turn this medicine on, and it is absolutely free when people learn about the healer within and then take action to care for their own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. They are transformed. So when you realize that you can do this, it is transformable. Now, this does not have to do with health, but I think it's a really good example of subtle energy. Dean Radin, who is a disbeliever, did this spoon. He brought something which he believed would be impossible, to bend the bowl of a spoon. I don't know how it happens in detail. I do know, and you know, any of you who have had experience with this, it's subtle. There is something that goes on to make the spoon malleable for a short time, and then it hardens. And so there's some subtle energy change in the molecules, okay? And that's the point I'm making. This is another example of subtle energy. Subtle energy is around everywhere. And based on intention, here the intention is to do something with a spoon. It's that same subtle energy that will heal. Now, here's another connection I want to make because I find it so interesting, and I've seen it in several places. Here's a connection. This is a relatively new group that's doing research on subtle energy as dark matter. So they're making a connection with dark matter. They're doing exploratory research. Subtle energy is comprised of a hidden sector of dark matter, and they're just starting, and they've got some phases going. But I wanted to read you their mission because I just think it's admirable, and I think many of us are really on the same mission. The Emerald Gate mission is to assist with human transformation, individually and socially, solving real-world problems with innovative approaches in a practical, applied fashion. So obviously doing health that falls into that. And nobody understands the connection with dark energy, but I just thought I'd give you a little background in that. If you didn't, you probably heard about it vaguely, but it makes up approximately 68% of the universe. And it appears to be associated with the vacuum in space. That's where the subtle energy is, down at the 0 point energy level, which is, vacuum isn't nothing. Quantum mechanics demonstrated that. That is not, that's not disagreed with by any of the scientists who don't believe a lot of this other stuff, but the vacuum has lots and lots of energy. It's distributed evenly throughout the universe, not only in space, but also in time. In other words, its effect is not diluted as the universe expands. The even distribution means that dark energy does not have any local gravitational effects, but rather a global effect on the universe as a whole. Now, I disagree somewhat when it says it's distributed evenly. It's variations in this really strong and deep vacuum energy, whatever you want to call it, that is the subtle energy. It's variations. This leads to a repulsive force which tends to accelerate the expansion of the universe. And they know this because they have this Hubble's law, which shows that galaxies are receding from each other, and the pace is now increasing. This is time in billions of years. So this is 15 billion years now to the present. And this is like space. And it's expanding. And the key thing, which I've seen this a couple of times, I believe it. I don't know how you prove it, but I think you can, because if the universe is expanding, that means in our normal sense, there's more space, there's more vacuum space. And with vacuum comes new energy, because this deep vacuum energy comes automatically. It's there. And so that's what's driving this expansion. But I think what it may also mean is that there's more available even to us, since everything is connected. Okay, so this vacuum energy, vacuum field, 0 point energy, exists at the finest level of space and time. This is a graphical sketch representation where we've multiplied space up by 10 to the 35. So we're talking 0 point energy dimensions being 10 to the minus 35 meters, and the times are correspondingly small. So we have no conception of that by the time we get up to meters. It sort of seems meaningless, and yet this is the basis of all physical matter. There was a video about this, and what the scientists said, because that still, I think, is the main viewpoint, is from nothing and disappears back into nothing. So you'd have electron, anti-electron, they'd immediately combine, giving energy. You have these virtual particles giving energy. Energy is being created here, but it looks like it's coming from nothing. Now, here's where I want to give you what I believe is actually going on. Here's a 0 point energy field. Here's physical matter. This connection is not questioned. So the ZPE field is everywhere. It's in you. Every point in your body, every molecule in your body is connected to the ZPE field because it's the fundamental. But under that is not nothing. Under that is, I call it the non-physical. It's what I call really the spiritual. That's the basis of everything. Matter and life start here. Consciousness moves up through here. Physical matter moves up. It's this interface that is absolutely key. And quantum mechanical subtle energy is here. It comes from the ZPE field. So it's fluctuations in this which affect the physical, our physical lives. So subtle energy and healing. There's a book about that, pretty good book. Subtle energy heals our bodies as well as our souls. Today, unorthodox medical doctors design cures for chronic diseases using it. That's where the ki, the chi, the Japanese version. Some people have sort of invented their own, but they're all the same. They're using some sort of energy that's in our bodies because the ZPE field, vacuum energy, is in our bodies. And so it allows us to do self-healing. And right now, there are entrepreneurs using it to design healing devices. I've heard of this. It's brand new as far as I know. Nobody's commercialized it in a big way, but they are designing healing devices in different ways. And whether, well, I'm going to tell you about the one, I know they've been out here a lot. I'm not sure any of them work consistently, but there's one, and I think it's in here, where they're storing healing. And that's pretty exciting if you can store healing energy, subtle healing energy somehow. Some people are working on that. Many believe it to be ancient, therefore an ancient undiscovered force of nature. Others believe it is a new science, beginning a new age of human experience. It's being talked now about a lot, and depending on your perspective, you emphasize one or the other, but obviously it's both because it's in our society. By creating awareness about the healing and nonviolent qualities of subtle energy, we can accelerate the positive influence this force of nature will have on the world. This comes from this book, and I agree with that. I think as we become, and we have to become, more aware of, well, the subtle natures of our universe, the subtle capabilities, the psi capabilities, and healing is one of them. But we're just don't understand enough yet to realize and to get that peace is best for everybody. I think everyone understands intellectually, but we don't know how to get there. So spreading awareness hopefully will help. Ancient healing modalities are being revived, where conscious entrepreneurs develop healing devices. New techniques such as intention imprinting devices are being developed. These new technologies offer us hope for a nonviolent world. Subtle energy healing is the result of many modern researchers, philosophers, writers, and artists. there's at least one person, Bankston. I don't know if any of you know of him, but he worked with mice, and he wanted to work with something which could never be cured. In other words, he wanted something where the mice would die every time. And he injected them with a certain type of cancer, and they would normally die every time. He developed a healing technique, which with him was 100% curative. And when they gave that same cancer to them after they were cured, they would not die. Many people to this day still don't believe it. Probably most doctors and stuff like that don't believe it. It's been reproduced. The people who reproduce it do not get 100%, but they get, if you heal even one of those, that's not supposed to happen. What Bankston is doing, in addition to teaching this, is he's come up with a way of storing this healing energy and then allowing it to be used separately. That's about all I know now. I need to do more studying on it so I could tell you more. But that's what the latest science in this field is, as far as I can tell from doing reading. Now, there are all kinds of subtle energies and healings. We talked about prana and ki. Reiki are using that. Acupuncture, again, now you're into the different ways the energy might be in the body. Touch therapy, EFT tapping, somatic experiencing. All of these are different modes, I think, of applying subtle energy. Okay, as I said, we do self-healing. We start at 10 after 9, we chat for 5 minutes, and 9:15 we get to it. What I'd like to do is to give you a sample of that right now, if you're open to it. And it all starts, this is sort of like a longer introduction than I do, but then it starts with a deep meditation by Stephen Wright. It lasts 4 minutes. And then you'll do 4 minutes of healing on something that's relevant to you right now. So I'd like you to get out a piece of paper. And is there some ache or pain you have? Is there some, well, you can't get their agreement. You shouldn't do this on other people unless they agree. You also shouldn't do this unless you've, inquired with normal medical. But if those conditions are satisfied, on a piece of paper, if you recently fell and your knee is killing you, draw a picture of a knee. All of that is strictly, whatever your ailment is strictly to help you focus on it. And you might put a word or two on the piece of paper. And so during even Stephen's meditation, and then the 4-minute meditation after that, you can go to it, help bring your focus back to what it is you want to heal. So right now, bring with you what it is you would like to heal. And with that, bring in some love and joy. Having love and joy always helps. Okay, so with your focused intention to heal, let's go into Stephen's meditation first.
So let us take some words into meditation, repeated simple phrases. First of all, just allow yourself to repeat. Do not be afraid. Imagine that is being said to you by your wise teacher that you acknowledge, Jesus, your Buddha nature, the Prophet, Allah, the universe, nature. But somewhere echoing around the universe is that deep-seated voice that says, don't be afraid. And perhaps as we touch into that phrase of don't be afraid, we recognize that as human beings, we exist on many planes of existence, from our mortal frame, our minds and bodies, to an aspect of our being that is immortal, the soul, our essence. Each of us, during our lives, may touch into that truth. It may sometimes seem far away, sometimes may seem close. Some of us may live it moment by moment, recognizing that we are not just who we think we are. We're not our roles, our identities. So be open now, deep in our consciousness, deep in the unconscious. Allow ourselves to say quite simply, I am. Breathe in the word, I. Breathe out the word, am. Just sit for a moment, breathing, I am. Encouraging the sense of simply being. No need for an addition that I am this, or I am that, or I'm experiencing this. But I am open to, receptive to the deepest, very core of our being. This I amness has been said throughout time in all traditions. It is eternal. It is immortal. We open ourselves, are receptive to our essential nature, which does not know death. The we who we think we are may pass away, the world may pass away, but it is only one plane of consciousness. Deep in the very core of our being is the immortal I amness, which all beings, all life, all creation possesses. And as we touch into that essential I amness, as we breathe in the word I, breathe out the word am, we remember that those are the very words when asked, who are you, of the divine? That is exactly what the divine says. I am. And we say, I am. And all beings say, I am. The whole universe is saying, I am.
With this deep sense of your soul and I amness, heal your issue now. Okay, this last 4-minute segment is over. You might stretch a little. Come back to your normal state. We're about to go on to the ARV phase. So if there are any questions or comments, now's the time to do it about the healing and subtle energy.
I have a question.
Sure, shoot, Jenny.
Okay. That study that you mentioned that was using machines just before we went to the meditation. Is there anything written, like a book or anything on that, or is it in a journal or anything?
The place where someone is storing healing energy.
Yes.
Yeah. If you go to Bankston, it's in one of his books, and there's a lot of information online about him. So
Bankston?
Bengston, I believe, Bankston. And if you say Bankston mice or something like that, because that's where he really became famous, some would say infamous, by really being able to cure mice of that cancer. And now he's working on ways of storing it. But I have heard of other people doing the same thing. So I
Is
think
this? I'm
Google
sorry.
storage of healing energy, you might be surprised what you find.
Is it radionics? Is this related to radionics?
No, he does it. He does it by making a list of things which he wants healed, and the mice are on. I can't explain it to you.
Okay.
But it's there on the internet. You don't have to buy his book.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Okay. So now let's do an ARV prediction with roulette for the outcome of roulette spin. And this is live roulette. Notice the person here. This is as close as you can get to a live casino like Vegas, where you'll be able to do it. But they have online places set up where you can do this. You can watch her spin it. You can watch it fall. I like that because I was always concerned there could be cheating involved. But now I suppose there are always subtle ways to cheat, but it doesn't look like you can cheat here. Okay, so let me give you first a local time, linear time. As we go down, we're just going through time. ARV begins with a remote viewing session. You receive a coordinate. And remote viewing always has one sort of coordinate or another. We use 6 digits. And then the ARV tasking is describe and or sketch the photosite target, which will be shown during the feedback session for the coordinate. So at feedback time, you're going to be shown a picture. I like to call it photosites just to emphasize how much information are really in photos. If it's a waterfall, you know there's sound there, for example. Okay, so you describe and sketch the photosite target, which will be shown during the feedback session for your coordinate, right? Clear tasking. Then you create your RV transcript. The next step is analysis and judging of the session. Now, here's where the difference with pure remote viewing and ARV comes in. In remote viewing, you describe the target and that's it. It could be described the location where a missing person is, or where he's buried, or something like that. and that's it. And then you go search. Here, we are doing 2 photo sized, one to identify the actual target, and the other we sometimes call a decoy. So during the analysis judging session, you or a judge, but right now let's make it you will do self-judging. You will analyze 2 photo sites to identify the actual target. Now you're going to make your judgment about which is the target, and that target association will be with the red or black. And we have to have, this is pure binary. You only have 2 photo sites. So one's associated with red, the other associated with black. And since there's green on a roulette wheel, we just arbitrarily associated green with black. So if green comes up, it's the same as a black. And that association is random, so none of us know what indeed that is. Now, then, once you finish your analysis judging, you will know, you selected one target or the other, and it will be associated with red or black, and you will know that, and so there is an opportunity to wager. Now, the feedback session starts with the outcome of the spin. As soon as the spin is done, then obviously you know whether it's red or black. And the actual photo site then for your coordinate will then be shown to you. Okay, you'll see that in action. And then you work with the target and the transcript to emphasize the feedback, because the feedback through subtle energy is shared with you at the remote viewing time. Now let me show you that in what I gave to you is everything in linear time. Since precognition doesn't happen in linear time, I want to tell you what I think really happens. The precognition begins with the feedback. Okay, here's remote viewing, here's the judging, here is the feedback. And we're going to basically have you do the same thing. Describe and sketch your feedback target with the intention of having it go to your sub, right? You and your sub share that information. You then make a handshake with the remote viewing sub, you at the remote viewing time. So that's the handshake that gives you the information here. And the entanglement energy that entangles this, which is this subtle entanglement energy. So this is where the subtle energy comes in, is focused intention, positive expectation, and joyful emotion. Keep joy and love with you as much as you can, but certainly during this process. Now, what ties all that together is a universe of collective consciousness, which is what I call it. It's called different things in different places. Shamans use it. Oh, I'm sorry, I've forgotten. There's another, Ingo Swann used to call it the matrix, which is the deepest embedded things in the universe. And there are other words for all of this. So I just use this because I think it's exactly representative of what's going on. Down here, non-physical, spiritual are contained all past, present, and future conscious moments. All of your consciousness really is in the moment. You have memories, but that's a memory in the moment. When you're getting information from the future, which we know you can do, that's what you do here, you're having it in the moment. So you're having in the moment and touching information from the future. So all that information is in this UCC. So this is the deepest way I know of sort of getting this. You know, it's still intellectual, but deep in your gut, you can get this, that it's this communication that matters, this handshake. And when you're doing it here, you're just bringing up information from your subconscious, ignoring your ego information. Now, this power is in you. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. This is a very, very famous Christian philosopher. But stuff like this is said by all religions. They all had their philosophical parts. There's one truth, one law. Notice the I am. You heard that in the meditation. I create. And here's a statement which is worth pondering. We are all God. We have just forgotten. And the statement, we are one, which is kind of a universal religious statement. You know, God is part of that. We are one. Okay, I'm going to give you a little advice and then we're going to jump in. This comes from a great book, The Zen and the Art of Archery. It's like 1950s. An American went back to Japan. He had heard about these great archers who would hit the target like every time. And the advice, which he's repeating from the masters, was don't think of what you have to do. Don't consider how to carry it out. That's all mental stuff, he exclaimed. The shot will only go smoothly when it takes the archer himself by surprise. So it's like the archer isn't doing anything. And he says that here too. What stands in your way is that you have a much too willful will. That's the old ego again, the intellect again. You think that what you do not do yourself does not happen. What you do not do yourself does not happen. You must release yourself to let the subtle energy coming from God, if you will, do the work. Know exactly how to release the arrow. Know exactly how to give you the remote viewing information from the subconscious. You have to allow that to happen. Okay, let's now get a little bit more specific. This is a target going back to 2022. I showed it because it's a good one. It was done in another webinar like this. And you can see the words, red, blood red, a thing, metallic, moving parts, white background. Okay. I'm putting this up to not only show it as an example, to show it as what a typical transcript might look like. For a newbie, the way we do this is we put the coordinate down and then you quickly do an ideogram. That's what we recommend. There are all kinds of approaches out there, but most of them actually involve writing the coordinate and then doing an ideogram. I'm going to show you another one where they do stuff in between, but for newbies especially, this is a good thing to do. The coordinate, an ideogram, which has like hidden information, which then opens up stuff from the subconscious. Now, after you do your transcript, I'm going to ask you to, because we're going to use this in the analysis stage, to put, and remember, there are two photosites. So this is a comparison with photosite A, which was the winner. You put a big A next to the things which are really good matches. Okay, painted surface, red. A thing, well, yeah, but that seems kind of weak. Didn't put anything next to white blank. So the choices are big A, little a, or nothing. And Okay, that's not hard to do. When you do your analysis, that'll be part of the analysis. In fact, then you can count them up and use that. Now, this is a more complicated approach with multiple ideograms, and that's worth doing. You do one and you kind of get stuck. You want more information, you do another ideogram, and you'll get more information, different information. If it repeats, that's pretty strong. And here again are the big A's, little a's, and the blanks. Now, I sent out already to members of the workshop group, workshop webinar group. We have lots of groups. This is the one where we share like this and I do a topic. And the thing you do is click here when you get it in your email. Now, I know some of you don't have it in your email. So I'm going to get it from my email. Here it is. So here it is. It looks like just what I showed you. So this is for the group webinar workshop. We have 10 ARV groups. We have like 2 or 3 sports groups. So that name would be there. And then notice there's an event, in this case, ARV roulette outcome, red or black, green. We discussed that already. And then you click here. So I'm going to click here now. Oh, no. Wait, I want you. Oh, no, I'm going to click here now, because if you don't have it in your email, you can't get it. But what you can get is this. So in the chat box, there you go. In the chat box, I've put what would be the link that would come in the email. So some of you, I know old bees probably got the email. And those of you don't, click there, and then a page like this will come up. And then this protocol is really very simple. And then you put in your email, put it in twice. We used to have people say, yeah, but I didn't get my feedback. It was because they mistyped their name. Notice webinar workshop is already there. And you would click here. And you now have your coordinate. So on a brand new sheet of paper, let me go back to my presentation. So here's where we were. And the tasking is describe on our sketch and there's your coordinate. And you now have your coordinate. And you click here to get your coordinate, just like I said. And will the ball fall on red or green? Well, that has to do with, right, that's the tasking. You're going to be setting your intention to do it right. When you put in your email address, you all should have gotten a page similar to what I showed you with the coordinate on top. Do you all have that? I covered up my email and the coordinate. But if anybody isn't that far, let me know. This is now teaching, so it's okay. And please do ask questions. So to the extent you put in your email address.
Yeah, I'm there. I put my email address and I got the task number.
And it looks just like this. Good. Now here's what you do. You're about to set up your transcript. So on the top of your page, put your coordinate. And I like to say it out loud, and then I say it out loud at feedback time. A lot of people don't do that, but you definitely put your coordinate here. It's sometimes called a target reference number, which is just what it is. It's like a telephone number that goes to one place. This coordinate is going to the feedback photo. And then on the other side, put your name, the date, the time, and in this case, workshop webinar. Now, we hope all of you will do a lot of this. So this is how you keep track of things. Plus, we keep track on our server, but you can keep track of this and then go back. Now, on the right, and I'm going to mention this because for newbies especially, it's important. These are analytical overlays or trash. When you're in your session, which you haven't started yet, when you're in your session, your analytical mind, your ego mind, is going to try to help you. But that information is different than the subtle energy information coming in from your subconscious. And you'll be able to tell the difference. Sometimes it's obvious. If it's round and red ball will come to mind. Well, that's sort of an analytical overlay. You know, it could be round and red and be a tomato. It could be lots of things, but the mind is trying to help you. You still write it down, but you mark it on the right. Now you're done with it and you go back and get more information. Okay, so we're about ready to do this. So the thing is, you're going to drop your intellect, you're going to drop your ego, you're going to allow information to come from the UCC using subtle energy to your conscious mind. You're basically in the witness mode. You're not doing anything once you get here except listening. Okay, remember what that master said. You don't think anything matters unless you do it. Just witness. Let the information come from higher source. Okay, so we did that. Okay, here's what we're about to do now. Cool down is very important according to Joe McMonagle. Tom McNair thinks it's important too. He does a silent prayer to an all-knowing entity that he calls God. And we're going to be doing the cool down again by listening to Stephen's meditation. I just think I know no better way to get down to that really deep, quiet place where it's the subtle energies that are going to be communicating with you. So right now, the ARV intention, which you can carry with you, is to get a good match with the correct target. Okay, you want to get a good match with the correct target. Describe and or sketch your coordinate target photo site. So we'll be doing a 4-minute cool down. Then I'm going to give you 7 minutes to do your RV session. And know again, I'm saying this over and over because it's so important that your intellect can't do this. A higher power can assist you with manifesting your ARV intention. Listen to your subconscious. Sometimes something seems to come out of nowhere. That's the wonderful. Hey, this doesn't fit anything, out of nowhere. In fact, you might want to circle that. Surprises, those are gold. And then I'll tell you when there's a minute left. Do bring in joy and love into your heart now. Set your ARV intention with joy, love, confidence, feeling good. This really is fun and deep. Okay, and we'll go deep now, and then you will do it.
So let us take some words into meditation, repeated simple phrases. First of all, just allow yourself to repeat. Do not be afraid. Imagine that is being said to you by your wise teacher that you acknowledge, Jesus, your Buddha nature, the Prophet, Allah, the universe, nature, but somewhere echoing around the universe is that deep-seated voice that says, don't be afraid. And perhaps as we touch into that phrase of don't be afraid, we recognize that as human beings we exist on many planes of existence, from our mortal frame, our minds and bodies, to an aspect of our being that is immortal, the soul, our essence. Each of us, during our lives, may touch into that truth. It may sometimes seem far away, sometimes may seem close. Some of us may live it moment by moment, recognizing that we are not just who we think we are. We're not our roles, our identities. So be open now, deep in our consciousness, deep in the unconscious. Allow ourselves to say quite simply, I am. Breathe in the word, I. Breathe out the word, am. Just sit for a moment, breathing, I am. Encouraging the sense of simply being. No need for an addition that I am this, or I am that, or I'm experiencing this. But I am open to, receptive to the deepest, very core of our being. This I amness has been said throughout time in all traditions. It is eternal. It is immortal. We open ourselves, are receptive to our essential nature, which does not know death. The we who we think we are may pass away, the world may pass away, but it is only one plane of consciousness, deep in the very core of our being, is the immortal I amness, which all beings, all life, all creation possesses. And as we touch into that essential I amness, as we breathe in the word I, breathe out the word am. We remember that those are the very words when asked, who are you, of the divine? That is exactly what the divine says. I am. And we say, I am. And all beings say, I am. The whole universe is saying, I am.
Take now some time to listen to your subconscious and the subtle energies which will talk to you and give you information about your target. Okay. Your 7 minutes are over. Come on back to your normal state. You might want to stretch. Let me share the screen again. Okay. We're about to go into the analysis phase. Were there any questions about what we've done so far? Well, that's great. I can see some people are submitting things already. That's
Give me a
great.
second. I'm going to submit it,
Yeah,
please.
let me show you what you need to do next. We're in the analysis phase. So this is where you choose your target, from either photosite A or photosite B. Now, so you're going to do a match on two possible, keyword possible, and don't make any assumptions which one it is until after you've done your analysis and make a final judgment. Now you go back, this page should still be on your computer, where you got your coordinate. Now what you do is browse your computer. Many people, have scanners. You can do it on a scanner, but somehow you've got to get on your computer the transcript. Smartphones, then you send yourself maybe an email with a photo of the transcript. If you're using an iPad, you could probably do it directly from there. I don't have an iPad, but everybody has managed to get their transcript onto their computer. And then when you do that, this blank space here will be filled with the name of the transcript, and then you click submit, and then you will get a so this is how it is on Windows. That was a transcript for 2520008. That's what I named it. When you copy it, you name it and you put it there. Okay, so I'm assuming you can do that. That might take a little bit of time, but that's okay. And while I'm doing that, you might see in the background, because when you do click, once you get it there, you click, a page like this will come up, and I've covered the picture. Because I don't want it to interfere with what you're doing. And for now, ignore all of these elements here. There's a detailed way of doing that called HAG, which I do not want to go into now. It just takes too much time. But the key element is element 30. And in element 30, you put in a little a big A, or you leave it blank. And then if you were to scroll down from photosite A, you'll find photosite B, and the same. Element 30, which is all that matters. You put in little a, little b, this is photosite B now, so little b, big B, or one of the options is to leave it blank. And that's all you need to do. And then what makes it final is you click here. You got to click here for HAG 30. It's called 30 because we allowed 30 elements, but the 30th is the most important. And in fact, all these others are guidance for you. So you click here for the Hag analysis. And then mark the big A's, little a's on your transcript. This is what Hag looks like. And it'll give you your prediction as long as you click that Hag thing and did the element 30. Okay. So these are for guidance only. Okay, so I said this, but I know you're busy doing your thing. I'm gonna do it myself. So let me see. Here's where my coordinate was. 902 833.
Martin, please explain me again cat 30, because I know I am.
Okay, so
I read
so-
ideogram, motion, feeling, analytical response, kinesthetics, smell. So
Yeah.
I'm supposed to mark what the picture is telling me or what my ideogram show regarding the photo.
No,
To-
it's your transcript. It's the match between transcript and each photo individually.
Okay.
So when you do your analysis on your transcript, you can put big A for photo site A when you're looking at it, put big A, little a, or blank for all the elements that you did. You put
Okay.
words, presumably, under your ideogram. Right? Or if you only have an ideogram, then you have to do big A, little a, blank versus that. But the same thing for photo site B. Okay, you understand?
Quite. Yes, I'm trying.
Okay, good. Um, and the judging and analysis is actually in many ways more important than a remote viewing session because you're going to come up with a prediction from there. So do it carefully and big A, little a, if there's some connection, give it a little a, no connection, leave it blank. If it's clear, like the red was red, give it an A. And if something came in, and this is advice, if something came in which was really a surprise out of nowhere, give it 2 big letters, because the way you're now going to do analysis is you're going to count 1 point for the big A, half a point for the little a, so you get a count for photo site A and photo site B. I think I should have said that earlier, but when you've got big A, little a on your transcript, then you can score it. And the way to score it is 1 point for big A, half a point for little a. And then you do that for the match with photo site B, half a point for little b, a full point for big B. So, transcript. Save it. Should give it a number. HTML. Be sure to click the element 30 hag number. Save as. Okay. So I'm doing this with you. Not like magic. None of us, frankly, have seen the two. Well, some of you have probably seen the two choices, but I haven't. My transport is 2, 8, 3, 4. I did a real fast one and I didn't have the number. Anyway, those of you who are looking at that, don't try to understand it. But it's my transcript. And I now want to get back to here. Back to here. So now I'm about to choose a file. And there it is, 902.833. And then I go here. So you guys are maybe ahead of me. If you have any questions, ask away. But what I am now doing is on my transcript, and I like to do them in different colors. So I take out a red pen for the judging. And I'll see if I have matches there. If I do, I'll give that a little A. I'll give that a big A. And a big A. Okay. I did a very fast one, so it was short. Now let's see. Don't have instruction. Just like you, I suspect you have some things which are in both. But again, that's when you count. Yeah. So I have an A, 5 points. Okay, well, I'm going to give mine. I'm now doing catalog 30 for A, and I gave it a little a because it's kind of marginal. I'm leaving B blank, but then I'm clicking the click here for HAG 30 analysis and submission. It's only when you do that and you filled in element 30s, including leaving it blank. So I did that, and it now gave me my prediction. So I have made a prediction. Now, please don't go by what anything I've done. Like, I'm going to take that off the screen. Let me get rid of it. Okay, but it did tell me what I predicted. I didn't, if I have two which are the same, which sometimes happens, you know, a big A and a big B, that'll be a pass. But if one is bigger than the other, that's the way you're predicting. Okay, so I have now done that. Let me see how. Oh. Looks like somewhere here. I was. Oh, I think I just got rid of everything. Okay, let me just get back what I need. Which is right now what I need. So let's do this. You hear me talking to myself. I do that a lot. It annoys my wife a lot. I'm going to do, and what I'm doing now is as a group manager, I want to see who has put in predictions. Oh, wow. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so now we can see everybody else's. I probably shouldn't hit it. So there was the one I did that you sort of watched. That was side one. JAK got a pass with 2 5s. Now, a 5 is the same as a big letter. So he thought that both of them were good matches. Jenny got side 2. I got side 1. Simona got side 1. VZE got side 2. Okay. And it's always that way. Then, since there's no 100%, you always expect some differences. Okay, so is anybody still working that want and hasn't put in their prediction yet? Don't be shy. We'll wait. Again, this is a learning.
Could you please sum out the, these results? I cannot see well.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about the results in a moment. Okay, so everybody is done. Okay, so what I have here is, and I'm going to make a table as I call them out. Yeah, see, it's here. And this is, again, this is for the manager, which is me. So there's a lot of information in here, but it includes the username, email address, and then right here, which side they went on. And okay, and side 1 is photo side A, side 2 is photo side B. So side 1, which is photo side A, I'm just making a table. Side 2, photo side B. So what I see is a pass, which I'll ignore. I see 1 for photos for side 2, 1 for side 1, another one for side 1, and another one for side 2. So we're 2 for 2. We'll still get feedback, but I can pass. unless 3.5 and 1, 3.5 and 2.5. These are really close. Sometimes I give more weight. You see these points? This is basically blank 1. Again, this is for the manager, so I know all this. You don't need to know this. The 5 is a big letter, so that's pretty strong for side 2. But guess what? We have a pretty strong one for side 1 as well. Well, not quite as strong. Not quite as strong. However, I'm going to pass. So, as a group manager, I make a group prediction, which will be sent out to all of you. So I'm going to make it a pass. I could do side 1 or side 2. And we are webinar workshop. And you can see here, side 1 was red, side 2 was black. That should agree when you did that HAG 30, element 30 thing. Oh, and here is a summary here. Right, I do again for the general manager, but you can see 2 reds, 2 blacks. So that's confirmation. 5-1 is the strongest, strong to one side, not strong to the other. So we'll see. Maybe black will come up, maybe it won't. But I'm now putting a pass in. He's here.
Okay.
Hi. Okay, I think you can do. I've got a guy putting in a printer here. I've got a webinar going, so we'll do it quietly. But there's the old one.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Fine.
So I just sent it out, and let's see why it should come into my mail, of course. Here's my inbox. So there you go. So I got this, and some of you may not be in the webinar workshop yet. I don't know. I don't have time. Well, maybe I do. Okay, let me put you, but you can see mine. Remember, mine was a pass, and it also shows that photo site A is red, photo site B, so it gives everything we need. You know what? I'm going to ask you who do not have a webinar workshop email to email me. I know you all have my email addresses, but I'm going to put it in again. And do 2 things. One, just by sending me an email, say webinar workshop, I'll know to put you in there. But then if you want to get put into other workshops, let me know, and then we'll dialogue a little bit about that. Okay? So you're not missing anything except you didn't get an email. But there's a group prediction. So the next step is to get the roulette wheel. And we use Bet Any Sports. It's out of Costa Rica. And it more and more of the places I think are starting to do it. I know of 3 now that do live. Okay, so I'm going to the casino. I'm doing Vegas live. And we will do the first one we can do. So it has to say something pretty clear about being able to do it. Like place your bet now, place wager now. It says something like that. And we do European because that has just 1 0. So okay, that said no more bets. So the next one is our bet. You're all seeing this, correct?
Yes.
I did share screen. Okay. Okay, so that one was black. And we now, I don't know. I'm going to place, oh, I can't place $1. I'm going to place $1 on green just because. Black came up, and when I was meditating, I saw green. I had no idea what it meant. So, that's crazy. This is actually the first time I've ever wagered on anything when there was a pass. And then to do it on green, that's really wild, right? But notice green is black. And it ended off on red. Okay. So you can see the ball was there, and up here is the last number. So the outcome was red. Okay, so black. I've got a daily notebook I keep track of. So then what I now do, so I don't need this anymore. I know it was red. I don't need that anymore. I go here. So we did a prediction, and it was a pass. But now, again, this is just for the group manager. That's me. I get these prediction forms. Notice I did the tasking earlier. You saw the group prediction. You're now about to see the outcome. And you'll see how I put that in, and then you'll get an email with that and the correct feedback. So let me just see here. I did the email. We want the outcome. And we want it from the webinar. You can see we do have a lot of other groups. Not all are active, but most are actually. Webinar workshop. And this gives me up, red or black. 802. This is a webinar workshop. Okay. And webinar workshop. So this shows that the group prediction was a pass. Side 1 was red, which we saw before. Side 2 is black. Our thing was really pass, but red is the correct outcome. Side 1 red, side 1 red, triple checked. So now I'll send that. So those of you that got red, and now we're going to talk about feedback. Okay. So here's what typical feedback looks like. So it gives the group name. It gives the name of the event. It might be, roulette, but it might be a sporting event. And then the winning side, which was red, and it was side A, which was side 1. Now, in fact, I'm going to put this up here. Each of you do it on your own screen, unless you don't have it. Now, was that hot for some of you? For some reason, have to copy and paste it. Others tell me that they have it hot. The link. Did any of you have that hot? The thing that you have to click.
No, it's not hot.
So you have to copy and paste too.
Yes.
Okay, so you copy and paste, and then you put in your email. Simply, you see, your part is very simple. All you had to do was click and put in your email, of course, and then I click here.
Just click, could you please copy and paste the link?
Yes, that's what I did here. Copy and paste the link.
In the chat box so we can open it?
No, in your URL, in your.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I didn't get an email.
oh, you
so-
didn't see it, or you don't see it. I see. Thank you. There you go.
Thank you.
And when you click it, yeah, if you put in a prediction, it took it, but it didn't make you an email member of webinar workshop. You know what? Or maybe I can, well, okay. Then you click here for feedback, and all of us should be seeing this now. And some of you, so I think they got it correct. So let's see. Why does it have a pass? Okay, well, side one. I have to look at that. Simona, you're doing great. Keep it up. Okay, so Simona got it right. Mine is saying a pass, but before it said side one, I actually think I got it right. I'm going to act as if I got it right because there were 2 side ones and 2 side twos. So let's talk about what you do if you're a side one, which was Simone and myself. First of all, you have a really big smile on your face. Okay. and then on your transcript, what I do is still I'm in my second color, but I now say at the bottom that side one was the hit. Okay. I should do this. I'm going to take another color. I'm going to go back. I have a green. In fact, that's what I'll do for feedback. I did that before. It's been a while since I've done one of these. And so I will mark the things which were right. I got the structure. That was clearly right. My ideogram was an ideogram of a structure. So I got 2 things right. And I also got rough. I would say that the hair on that guy was rough. And mine was real short. So to get 3 was okay. The other thing to look for is, was there something there which you didn't mark that you wish you had that would have been a hit? And I don't have any of those. And the next thing, for the guys with the hit, and also the guys for the misses. Okay, let's talk about the guys for the misses. They have their transcript. You got a miss, but on your transcript, I'm willing to bet that there's more on there that than you gave credit for. Tell me if I'm right. Let me see, who are the ones? In my case, everything was really off, but usually when you get a miss, you say, oh shit, I should have marked this. Is that true of you, Jenny?
I'm displacing. I got clear. It was very clearly number 2. It's a total, it's like,
Okay, so you displaced.
I
But it-
displaced it. I had things like music and brass sound and zigzagging lines and stuff like that. That was very clearly in picture 2.
Okay, but you didn't have anything, well, you might have had structure, but that was in both, but you didn't have like vegetation or green.
No. Well, I got a outdoor structure, but that was about the only thing. But that was like not. I mean, that wasn't like the major part of it. I'm getting maybe both of them, but the second
wait.
was definitely stronger. I don't know why I'm doing this.
I'm not questioning that. It was
No.
obviously stronger because you got a miss, but what did you do with outdoor structure? Did you give that a big A?
Nope. Everything was B.
Okay,
structure on the sketches.
I'm suggesting this to you as a person who's done this for too many years. That should have been a big A. There's clearly an outdoor structure there. Right?
Right.
And your sub, yeah, this is what we would, in the normal sense, call the main part of the structure, but there's no, of the picture, but there's no question this is an outdoor structure,
Okay.
right?
Right.
That wouldn't have changed it. I'm not saying it would, but sometimes it would.
Yeah.
But this time, anyway. Okay. So then, to finish,
Martin, I have a question.
yeah,
I wouldn't mind if you take a look at my transcript. Would you do that? I mean, everyone can see it because I'm quite confused about the rating. I mean,
about how to judge. I understand. That turns out to be the hardest thing. You
yeah,
know,
because I mean, I would say I'm quite confused. Not
okay,
because I didn't. It's just that the element 3. I didn't know really what I was doing. Okay, so
let's see
you
your
know,
transcript. Go ahead.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I wouldn't mind everyone seeing it. I mean, let me just send it to you for everyone here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Share it. Put it on your screen and then just.
Yes. Yes. Let me see how I'm supposed to send this. Okay. No. Okay. 1 second, please. No. You. Okay. All right. I'm gonna send in the chat box in a minute.
Not the chat box. Share it through Zoom.
Oh, okay. Let me share it. Okay. Let me see. Share screen. Okay. I'm going to. Here we go. So this is, and as you can see it now.
Yeah, let me get back to my Zoom. That's one. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I get your started screen sharing. Or it's trying. That's pretty long. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so do you have questions or do you want me to suggest what I might have done with this?
Yes. Well, how you would have judged it? I mean,
Okay, the rectangles I would have marked as a big A. I mean, that's clearly talking to structure, plus the structures have big rectangles on them. Then it's not a sphere or anything like that. You understand that? So that
yes,
was
sir.
big A. And what does this say? What are the words?
It says stone in ancient traditions, regrets, abandonment.
Go away. You're going too slow. What's
Yeah.
under?
It's like a boat, it was like someone is in a boat.
It was a boat. Okay. Oh, abandonment. I see. Shape of, what is that?
A jar of honey, like a jar of honey was like a shape of
Okay.
or what the bees do, mostly maybe
Right. The need of keeping something.
something close to your chest, but therefore it's almost as if someone is trying to inflict self-pain. That's what I saw. Someone, the figure of someone.
I understand. Well, I think this one is clear. This one, you wrote abandonment. I don't see that as with either of them. You can say, was that person? Now that thing was, but again, you have a structure in here, right? So, but now there, I have to take back something I said. I would put a big A and a big B here, as I'm recalling. I can't see big B, but it was like a couch in a room, right?
Yeah, that was a square.
So I would put a big A and a big B here too. and I don't know if there were any circles. This might be the head. In fact, and this is stretching it a little bit, but I would give this a little a, because if we look at our, I don't know what it is. What kind of animal is that? It's not-
It's like a bunny, like
Yeah.
a small.
Okay, but it had a head with structures in the back. So I might give this a little a, because I'm stretching it. I know I'm stretching it, but I would have given that a little a. And for the person, unfortunately, it looks like it's sitting on a couch, but it's a person, which is close to an animal, and we see that a lot. So I don't know what to do. I would give this, me personally, and that doesn't mean I'm right. I would have given this a little a or a blank. But if somebody gave it a B and said, "Oh, look, she's sitting on a couch," I could understand that too. So you see the complexities of analysis.
Yeah, very complex.
Notice the example I gave you. They're not all like that. When you're right on, you're right on. But sometimes you're right on with, like apparently Jenny had, which is a displacement. You get right on the wrong one. Okay, but did I answer your question?
So what, I mean, what have been a right hit? What kind of ideogram would have been close to the final target?
Well, the ideograms have feelings to them. It's more of a feeling motion, a little bit of a a match in shape, but not clear, not clear. That's a whole complicated issue, and I did a whole webinar on it, or somebody else might have. Lynn Buchanan does it. It's sort of complicated, but it's more feeling. It feels like, and then you put some words down, or words just come to you. Okay. Now there are some standard ideograms like water. Water is wavy. I don't know if you saw my transcript, but there was a oh, here, let me see if I can share it. Still might be available. I had a classic. In fact, I think I had them both here. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay, and let me just see if by any chance I still have my. Doesn't look like I have. Okay. Okay. But I drew, they tell me I should be able, well, you'll be able to see it. Watch my cursor. This is typical for water, right? Makes sense. And structure is typically rectangles or squares. And there are what they call standard ideograms for the others, but Tom,
I
many
had a
people,
boat too with water, like you.
yes, but there wasn't water there. Maybe you read my mind. Don't do that.
Okay.
You got to get it from your own subconscious. Okay, let me finish off some of this now. I can click that twice, obviously. And I want to finish off feedback. And for the misses, how to handle misses, it is very important. There's analysis. Okay, there's feedback. You can see what we did with the people who get it. And, they're happy and they should be happy, but maybe they could be happier. Maybe I should have marked something else. I am right now doing a little sketch of that animal and of the structures in the back. Really crude. But had I had that crude as my remote viewing session, guess what? There wouldn't have been any question. And maybe I would have written on an animal. Okay, so you get the idea when you do your new one and it's fast, you do the one you wish you had done, but it really only has to be crude because it just has to be enough to distinguish it from the other. Okay, so now what I want to do is talk about feedback, and that's what we've just done. And we talk about positive feedback, PFB. It should always be positive. And that's why I went with the guys who got hits, because then it's really easy to be feedback. So you're going to use your feedback photo site and your transcript. Now be positive with your feedback photo site and new matches. This is where you want to look for new matches in either case. Even if you got a miss, just be as positive as you can. Try to find something where you sub, like in this case, in Jenny's case, we did find structure was in there. So at least she had one thing, but it was a miss. Now, she acknowledges it, does the one she wished she had done. That's really important. Jenny, you should do one that looks like whatever that animal is and a few structures in the back. I did one, it took me, 20 seconds. Some people like to do good ones and they think it helps, and they might be right. Since they're putting a little bit more detail in there, they figure they'll pick up the detail. But my remote viewing sessions don't usually have that much detail. They have shapes and a few words. So you do the remote viewing session in your style that you wish you had done. Okay? What's hurricane? Oh, Juan, you were asking about hurricane?
Yeah, the Japanese thing about killing themselves.
Doing what?
Killing themselves in the harakiri. That's what the Japanese call when they just like a ritual, the Japanese ritual of, let me read it.
When they do it themselves?
Ritual suicide by disembowelment with a sword, formerly practiced in Japan by samurai as an honorable alternative to disgrace or execution.
Ooh, I thought that was Harry Carey.
Well, yeah, harakiri. Yeah, I mean, I mispronounced it maybe.
I would suggest if you get a miss, don't do that.
No, of course not. Of course not.
That was a
Of course
But
not.
what you do is recognize that this was only one of many, and that you learned something from it. And in your case, Jenny, it sounds like it was a clear displacement. So if you say to yourself, okay, I'm psychic, now talk to your subconscious a little bit, and subconscious say, instead of doing a good job on the wrong one, do a good job on the right one. I'm going to see the feedback. That's the one I want you to send information on. I mean, the fact that you did such a good job shows you're psychic, so you can pat yourself on the back about that, but then get a little angry at yourself. I only really want the good one. Now, if this is one out of, 50 good ones, that's fine. Just accept it. Because your sub, for some reason, wanted to do the other one.
What do we do from now? Just keep belong to the groups. I mean, I want to keep trying.
And
I'm not going.
the other thing you do is do another transcript. Jenny, you should be doing one right now. You do this right after the feedback. And, this is just for you. You might put orange, I think was the color there. Whatever would distinguish this, and that's it. And then right into session. This is a real session. And at the top, you put positive feedback. It's a positive feedback session. And that's it. And then feedback, no matter what, you give yourself an A+, because you're learning to do something about the impossible. I mean, let's face it, this by most accounts in our culture, this would be considered impossible. And even to get the wrong one, well, that would be impossible. They wouldn't believe it. And then what you do now is in the email you're going to send me one in your case, you're going to tell me if you want to be in sports or ARV with the roulette wheel. And if you're a free member, you get one choice. If you're a full member, I can set you up for 5 ARV roulette ones.
Sports.
And if you want sports, we have a sports guy, and he was doing 2 a week. I think he's down to 1 a week now. So you'll get 1 a week from him, and that's great.
Yes, I like to do sports. I'm going I just wanna, understand more this process.
Sure.
Get more, get the feeling that that I usually get when I'm doing psyche job, more accuracy, right? But I do want to try it hard, and I do want to make the chances of I want make this to happen, and I will sign up for the full membership. That's my plan.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Do send me that email, because you would be surprised by the time I leave here. There'll be so many things on my mind. Send me that email, say sports, and I'll put you in the webinar. So you'll get the emails in a month from now when I do another one of these. Okay, any other questions, comments? Well, very good. So thank you for joining me. And I wish you all this love, wisdom, beauty, joy. I love these. I got this from the idea of love, wisdom, beauty, joy came from the Monroe Institute. And then I just found all these things to put up. Anyway, I will end this now. And what I'll say to you all is keep precogging.
Thank you so much, Marty, for everything.
Yes, you're
Blessings.
very welcome. And thank you for joining me.